Hey, in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about why Carson Wentz could not stand having Jalen Hurts on the team. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to share a little bit about why that happened. But things are heating up. We just won our Super Bowl, and we're still riding the wave of that Super Bowl. And I know things are evening out for us as Eagles fans. So many things have happened over the last couple of weeks since the Super Bowl, right? So, I mean, we have had free agents leave. We've had free agents come on board. And quite frankly, I don't think anything's going to change for us, right? One of the biggest things, you look at Milt Williams in the middle, right? You look at gosh, what's his name? You look at Josh Sweat, right? And then you look at BG, the loss of BG. You look at Slay. You look at, CJ Gardner Johnson, right? So we got some of these key guys on defense that have left. But the one thing that really, really makes me excited and gets me excited is the fact that we have guys waiting in the wings, right? So we got Keely Ringo. Keely Ringo is going to be a beast. He's going to be an animal, right? And that's why we let Isaiah Rodgers walk too, because we got Keely Ringo there, right? Why did we let Josh Sweat leave? Because we have Nolan Smith there, right? And I know they're looking at the contract right now for Jordan Davis, right? Big baby Davis, Jordan Davis has, I think for him, once he has that grit, right? Once he has that, he's a nice guy. You could look at him and see he's a nice guy, right? But once he has that grit and he's playing with his boys, he continues to stay slim down, continues to stay hungry, and continues to be that run stopper in the middle and applying pressure of the middle. And he's going to be a beast. I hope they extend him, give him a contract, give him something where they could extend him for a couple of years, 2-3 years, extend him, and let's see where he's at. All right. I know he came along slowly, but he was balling coming at the end of the season. So, that's one thing I'm seriously excited about. So let's get into this. Let's get into this Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts thing, right? So, and what really brought this back for me was the fact that Carson Wentz was now in Kansas City after being on multiple teams, right? And don't get me wrong, when he was with the Eagles that season, he was on par for an MVP season. I mean, he was rocking and rolling. He was on par for MVP season. And then he gets injured. We all know this as Eagles fans, right? And when he gets injured, then comes Nick Foles. Nick Foles comes in, takes us to the Super Bowl. We win the Super Bowl. After that, Carson Wentz was broken because his ego was shattered and he was not a locker room guy. He was claiming Christianity and claiming that, he was a Christian. And I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not knocking that at all. However, you could see through people, right? When you have discernment, you could really see through people and see who's real and see who's fake. So you could see through people most times. And that's one thing that I know for him. He took that on, and every team that he's gone to, he's trying to prove himself all over again that he was this big time QB. And if you don't have humility, and this is one thing that he was lacking, and this is the one thing that's the difference between him and Jalen Hurts. If you don't have humility and you don't humble yourself to the fact that, you're in the NFL, you got to learn, there's things that are going to be happening. You got injured, you're trying to make a comeback. And also stop trying to play hero ball. Stop trying to play hero ball every time. And that's what Carson Wentz was doing every single time, trying to play hero ball. And why would you do that? Why would you continue to play hero ball? Okay. And so with that, every single team he went to, holding on to the ball too long, trying to make the big play instead of, dinking and dunking, moving down the field, finding the man that's open and methodically moving down the field, let your running back do his thing and win games. And that's what he couldn't do because he wanted to make the big home run play. Look, for example, in Kansas City, last game of the season, Patrick Mahomes doesn't play. They're moving into the playoffs this year, last year, to as the number one seed, and they don't score a point. Zero, zilch, nada, nothing for Carson Wentz. He couldn't move the ball. And I know Andy Reid thought he probably could have resurrected this guy's career. But now look at him. He's a free agent and he's out there, and I doubt at this point anybody's going to pick him up. So after, I don't know how long Carson has been in the league, maybe six years or so, but after about that period of time, you could see from being a number one draft pick, and man, how he is smart. Because you see, when they saw that and saw that fracture in him, they drafted Jalen Hurts, right? They drafted Jalen Hurts. And the quarterback position has been changing in the NFL. It's been changing in the NFL. So it's going away from the pocket passers, and it's moving more to guys that can get out of the pocket and that can move and that could really distribute the ball and get it out of their hands quickly, move in the pocket. They could scramble. Look at Jalen Hurts. It's the typical NFL quarterback right now. So if you're watching the draft and you're looking at some of these quarterbacks that are in the draft, they need to be more like the type of, not a running quarterback, but a mobile quarterback that could get out of the pocket, that could also process what's going on the field, and also at the same time have an arm where you could get the players the ball. And once there's a good team around you, you're going to be successful. And so that's why I know for the Philadelphia Eagles that we are in a good spot with Jalen Hurts, and Carson Wentz was just not the person that was going to deliver the Eagles that Super Bowl. Now, don't get me wrong. And we would never know. We would never know because I don't speculate. Right? Because I know a lot of people speculate where they say, well, Carson he might have been able to get the Eagles to the Super Bowl. We don't know. All we know is that Nick Foles came in and he delivered us that Super Bowl. And now Jalen Hurts came in, took us to a Super Bowl the first time against Kansas City, and now this year delivered us yet another Super Bowl. So the difference between Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts is that Carson Wentz was not humble. Jalen Hurts is humble, right? And he has that it factor. He wants to win. He's that kind of guy. He's going to take the lumps, but he's going to also learn, and he's going to be humble. As long as you have the right coaches around him, as long as you have the right people around him that are putting him in the best position to win, it doesn't matter. Like for all of these seasons where he's had multiple offensive coordinators learning all these different playbooks that he's had to learn. Think about that. If you're learning all these different playbooks that you have to learn, and now translating that to the game and translating that to the field and being able to be in command of the offense, Jalen Hurts is one of those players that's very, very underrated, and people are not going to see it until the Philadelphia Eagles again win another Super Bowl, which I think we are highly favored to do that next year, even with the losses on defense, because we have young guys that are coming up. Over the next 2 years, we have over 22 picks in the NFL draft between the first four rounds. So look at this. With 20-some picks in this draft, how he's going to do some wheeling and dealing. So he's going to get rid of some of those picks to either move up and pick somebody else that we need to pick. Look, he moved up to get Devontae Smith, right? Howie knows what he's doing. And so where I see, our Philadelphia Eagles moving in 2025 and 2026 is we're going to be back in the NFC Championship game again, barring any major injuries. We're going to be back in the NFC Championship again, getting ready to go to that Super Bowl, and possibly win another Super Bowl. Will it be easy? I don't think that we're gonna be in some games and we're gonna lose some games. However, we're gonna be seated where we're gonna be able to run the tables again and get back to the Super Bowl. That is what I see with the roster constructed how it is now. We replace we get somebody in there to replace Milt Williams. Right, we safety. We're looking at Sidney Brown, but I know we're going to get another safety in there once Sidney learns how to throttle what he's doing. Right, and then on top of that, you have Keely Ringo, like I said, that's going to be playing corner. We have Quinyon Mitchell. We have Cooper DeJean. Look, we're going to be solid on the back end on defense. Vic Fangio is going to make sure, and we locked up Zach Bond. Right, so when you look at that, and not to mention, we're looking to restructure right now Jalen Carter's contract. And you know why Howie's doing that? Because he knows the big payday is coming and he wants to get ahead of it right now. So Howie is a really smart guy. and he knows what he's doing. So in this draft, which is just about over a month away, less than 3 weeks or so away, guess what? There's going to be some wheeling and dealing. There's going to be some things that's going to happen for the Philadelphia Eagles that's going to pan out in a big way. Some of these players that just signed in to come in, a couple more Georgia boys coming in. So that continuity is just going to kick in even more and going to take this to a whole nother level. People are playing on 1-year contracts because they want to prove themselves. And what better way to get steals and deals on 1-year contracts that want to redo their, play for a Super Bowl winning contending team and also give it all they have to get another contract. This formula that Howie has, I know a lot of people are going to copycat this, but the Eagles right now are leading in the category of draft picks, and we're just going to get younger and younger. We can't, as fans, we can't get attached to these players. I know it's so hard to see people leave. Like the CJ was a big one for me, but seeing Sidney Brown, once Sidney Brown learns where he is, he's a quick guy. He had another year under his belt after his injury, and I think he's gonna be good. And he could bring that attitude. He could be the guy that has the attitude on the back end that CJ had, right? So let's look at that. And so, I'm excited about this upcoming season. I'm excited about the draft. I want you guys to drop in the comments what you think about this draft. Who do you think we need in this draft? Who do you think we're going to get in this draft? For me, I think Howie's going to be in the trenches. This is going to be O-line, D-line in this first round, or it could be a safety. I don't know. But I think most likely it's going to be in the trenches because that's what built us. I know we locked up Lane Johnson, and we just need to continue to build in the trenches, and that is going to do wonders for the Eagles. So, guys, if you don't mind, share the video, like the video, subscribe, tell other people about the channel. We're going to continue talking about Eagle stuff. I'm going to throw some other sports in there as well. Just what's going on in sports is going to be, but fly Eagles fly, man. This is what it's all about. I appreciate you guys tuning in, watching the channel, and really being great. Soon, I'm going to have some giveaways and some gifts. So continue to tune in, man. I really appreciate you guys just growing this channel, trying to get it out there. All right. Talk to you soon.